Check it out, guys. I'm back with my video response to episode 254. And a fine episode with some disturbing news. However, why not go out with a bang, Pappy? Why not? You know, it's been quite fun having you on the show, and I've really enjoyed having three hosts, especially when all three of you are on at the same time. That's something that I've really enjoyed because there's another opinion, and your opinion, Pappy, is always a little bit different from everyone else's. You know, you're a little bit different in your tastes, I guess, in some of your tastes in music and everything from the hosts, and what you define as in, you know, what your idea rig is and your setup and things like that. So it was really refreshing to have that sort of contrast, you know, with our regular host Pappy and regular host Pipes and PT. So I thank you for stepping in those dark days back in the hiatus days of the Bliss, and pretty much helping everyone save the Bliss from that, and giving us some great episodes. I was going to prepare a eulogy, but that's a little bit inappropriate, so you know, people are telling me I need to grow up. Anyway, I've got my little list here on my phone, so I'll try not to make this one too long because the other one was 25 minutes, and I know people don't want to look at me, stare at me for that long, even though who wouldn't want to? However, and I read Larry posted, Larry, you know, Laughing Larry, on the forum that you don't get a chance to watch these because they're videos. Not a problem at all, dude. What I will do is I will rip the audio of this and I will put it alongside for you to download if you so desire. And yeah, Pipes, thanks for giving me a bit of a plug about these videos. I know that last one I did put a little bit of effort into it. This one I'll make a little bit more simple because I know that speaking to a couple of friends on the Bliss, I know you don't want to see that intro over and over and over again. I might put it on this video, but I'll try to shorten it and things like that because, yeah, it goes for a long time. But anyway, like Pappy said, it's the power of the Mac. You would be shocked to know how simple it is to do. But anyway, looking at my little list here, let's talk about string changes. Here's an embarrassing fact. On my guitars, on my Bentley guitar, I haven't changed the strings since Steve sent it to me. I need to change them now because they're not really staying in tune, which I'll probably do tomorrow. I really enjoy changing strings. I know that sounds a little funny, a little odd to people, but I actually really enjoy that. Like, I really do. I don't know what it is. I guess I'm the type of person that likes working with my hands. And, you know, I like fixing things, and I shouldn't really say fixing things, I like modifying things. Because who the hell wants to fix something? I like doing maintenance on the guitar. I like taking the strings off, rubbing in a bit of oil into the fretboard, cleaning it up, things like that. I don't like taping off the frets and getting some steel wool to make them shiny again, because that's annoying. It takes too long to tape up the frets. Yeah, I like maintaining the guitar. Like, you know, I've only dabbled in the world of setting up, thanks to Dave Mack recommending an ebook to me. You know, the Billy Penn book, really cool book. If anyone out there hasn't got it, I think it was like $5. Really worth it. Got a lot of links to his YouTube channel, so you can, when he's talking about something, you can actually see it happen, pictures and so forth. Really cool book, really giving me the confidence to adjust my guitars. But anyway, back to the string changes. So yeah, I really enjoy changing strings, although I don't do it as often because strings here in Australia are stupidly expensive. I'm thinking about going on eBay because I saw, I played D'Addario's, I don't know what they are, the regulars, but anyway, 10 to 46s. And I always like that when you buy a guitar, normally it comes with 942s, but I always like to have a little bit of thicker gauge so it holds tune a little better. I think it sounds a tiny bit more solid, and it gives your hands a bit more of a workout. Playing now, if I go back to 9s, I'm over-bending, I'm fretting too hard, so you know, get sharper notes. It's just, I just can't do it. Sometimes it's a bit of a godsend if you're trying to play some lead with a lot of like really quick bends and things like that. but 10 to 46 is what I really like. I might go up a bit. I might go 10 to 52, so the bass strings have got a little bit extra body to them, but all in good time. So yeah, geez, I don't change strings unless I have to, really. On my acoustic, that's a different story. I use Tomastic infields. They're called plectrums. Because I've got the dodgy, cheap Ibanez Talman, I use light gauge strings, and it doesn't like the I guess what you would call light or regular gauge acoustic strings. It really likes the light ones, sad to say. It's not a great guitar. I wouldn't recommend anyone buy one. So I use Tomastic infield. It's a mixed set. They're 11 to 50s actually, and at the moment I have 10s on it. I've got 10 to 50s. It's another set of I can't even remember what I bought to put on those, to be quite honest. They were the cheapest set I could find. But I like the sound of new strings on the acoustic. I like it to be a little bit brighter, maybe because my guitar is quite dull. The top, I guess, just doesn't vibrate too well, doesn't project too well. So it is a shallow body guitar as well. What can you expect? But I like it to sound a little bright. But when I play other decent acoustics like Martins or I played one Martin, Taylor's, played a few of those, and my favourite, the Cole Clarks, the Australian guys. I mean, those strings have been on those guitars for ages in music shops, and they sound great. So yeah, I only change when I have to. Like, well, I'm going to change that my Benford tomorrow because I really have to change those strings. My acoustic, I probably change them once a month or so. Sometimes once every 2 months, depending on how often I play the guitar. These days I don't play acoustic much anymore. With my Ibanez guitars, I don't know what it is about the RG fixed bridge constructions, but they just hold tune. They just, unbelievable, like they just hold tune. Even if it's out of tune, consistently with the rest of the strings, everything is within standard, I just playing standard tuning, is within standard tuning. So if it's out, you know, I don't know how far it would go out, 20 cents, whatever, 50 cent, who knows, I don't really know how to measure it. The rest of the strings were consistently out with that, so it's just the neck changing with weather. Or temperature I should say, or humidity. And yeah, so the strings are pretty good. But yeah, I don't change them that often, only when I have to. Here I go, something I'm going to make short, running on 7 minutes talking about strings. I'm going to talk about gear forever. I don't care what it is. Talk about the ball ends on strings if you really want me to. Let's talk about Ernest McLean. That's a shame that he's passed and that he wasn't as well known. But to be quite honest, the first time I heard about Ernest was on the Bliss. Watching those videos, yeah, the sound was a bit hard to understand, but he seemed like just a really nice, genuine dude, phenomenal guitar player, and just a joy to be around. I've been to Disney World in Orlando, I think it was. Geez, that was a long time ago. It's 16 years ago. And that would have been cool, just to walk past someone that was playing guitar. Sadly enough, that long ago I didn't play guitar, so I wouldn't have cared, to be quite honest. But in this day and age, it would have been cool just to walk past having live music. I think a lot of live music is really sort of not as popular as it used to be, kind of dying a bit, especially where I'm from. People just put on a bloody CD. But it's a shame. Hopefully you rest in peace, Ernest. And yeah, but no, that was a cool episode. Very sad news. Next, dream guitar or dream amp, the skills to make one. I am so over making things these days. But if I had the option, I would probably get the skills to make an amplifier. It's probably the next progressional step in making pedals and so forth, only because sometimes you want amplifiers that you just can't find out there and you can't get. They make so many guitars out there, and I mean, a guitar seems to be more in your reach to get what you want rather than an amplifier. There seems to be a lot more people out there making custom guitars than there are making custom amps from what I can see. Living proof of that, of course, Benefit guitars. So I'd have an amplifier, and what I would really like is I want a PV, I don't know what they're calling it, 6505 plus or something like that, but in a 1 watt package. So I want the full EQ and everything in a 1 watt package. I want it to be rack mountable. That's all I want. I'm not asking for a lot, so take the preamp section that's already there and just put a small power amp section. Yes, it won't sound exactly the same, but it will have the gain stages, and you'll be able to crank it up and drive that one output tube or whatever you use. Like the thing behind me, they use a type of, I think it's like a preamp tube in the output, in a push-pull situation, so they split in half, which is why that thing sounds way different to any like Class A amp. It's Class A B amp. So amplifiers, yes, that's what I would go for. It's next to my little listy here. I've just lost it. Anyway, let's talk about the episode in general, the build episode. So let's build something. Pappy and the tremolo pedal. I thought that was really cool. The paint job is great, really phenomenal. Painting is definitely one of the hardest things to do, to get it to be really smooth, clean, and consistent, and to bring the results that you want, especially when you put decals and things like that on there. What I do personally to give it a bit more of a professional touch is once I put the decals on, I will then spray it with clear over the top. Give it, I'll give it 7, 8, 10 coats of clear, thin coats, sand back a little bit, clear it, sand back a little bit, clear it, get like a buffing compound at the end, once it's dried of course, for a couple of months. No, not really that long, probably 3-4 weeks. And then buff it up, you know, get a perfect shine to it. Doesn't seem to last for me for some reason, the pedals I make. But anyway, yeah, that was cool. I like the sound samples. I've never really gotten into tremolo that much. You know, I like the effect, I just haven't really found too many places to use it all that much. I guess I sort of have, when I go to that sort of type of effect, I use the Leslie simulator, which is in the TC unit behind me. And yeah, more of a sort of phaser chorus dude. But that sounded great. I think it sounded great. It's good that mod kits can put out something so cheap. I mean, I can't get parts, you know, that cheap. I looked on their website and they do show those designs. A lot of the designs for the pedals they've got look very familiar. I know exactly where they took those from, but good for them. There's a free world out there. Everything I've made is just modified other circuits. But yeah, it's really cool. Really like what you did with it, and nice way to have your sort of last official episode with a nice build like that. So it's really cool. Thank you very much for that, Pappy. What do you have next on my list? PT built a song. Now that caught me by surprise. I have to admit I did not expect that. I didn't see that coming at all. But PT, what a song! I really wish I had the skills and the I'm not going to say have the skills, because come on, everyone here on this forum has played guitar and can think of a few lyrics. It's just that we find it difficult or more challenging because we're not used to it. That's the hard truth, isn't it? So, but I mean, I wish I could do that as easy as you could. It was such a good song, and I hope that you do record that, put it out for us to listen in a more polished format, in which way you want it to be. But that was cool. I vaguely remember Steve. I think if I'm talking about the right, oh, excuse me. I add a bit more jack. The right episode, but lesson that Steve was doing, but it's sort of cool. Music is not mechanical in any way, but you can use it in that mechanical format or mathematical equation to write songs, and you have to. That was one thing that took me a long time to understand, that when writing songs, when composing music, when doing this, you can be one of those gifted people that feel it and can just come up with melodies and progressions that in Western music just fit together. Or you can do it the other way, which is how they teach you in theory. When, geez, I was only a kid, but learning music theory, which I cannot remember anymore. Everything, especially learning keys, they're based off the C major scale, and you build everything off that. I can understand how you would, chords fit and what to play, and what sounds good and bad and this and that, blah blah blah. So, but I can see how you could make that into a song. So PT, cool song. Thank you very much for sharing. That did put me off a little bit with the build episode, but you didn't specify, Pappy, what to build, or was it Pipes? I can't remember. No, it's Pappy with the ideas. So it still counts as a build. Let's talk about Larry Ashbrook from the forums. I don't think anyone else knows his surname, a couple of us. So Larry, that is such a cool idea. I mean, wow, who would have thought about putting it in a briefcase? I've been thinking about putting a pedal board in a flight case, things like that. I've gone to the electronic stores and they've got those metal ones where inside them, I guess they're for cameras or anything really, where you pull out the small pieces of foam, there's little squares of foam to make your shapes and put everything in there. So you've got your delicate equipment that you can carry around with you. But your idea and how you implemented it is pure genius. It's a really cool idea, and it's got its own mojo, because that case has been everywhere. I like the way that you did that recording, the raw recording. I noticed a lot of people are recording things on their smartphones these days, and why not? If you can do it, why not? So yeah, it was a really, really, really cool segment. Really enjoyed it. Thank you for sharing. I'm trying to wrap this up, guys. I'm going way over the acceptable time. But what's next on my list? Oh, the David Lee Roth. Look the way that you're going to play music. What look should you have for certain type of music you play? I can relate to this perfectly. Do I agree with it? Yes and no. Depends on how extreme you go. Depends on what type of show you're going to put on. When you look at someone, do you really have to judge them by their cover? I mean, judge a book by its cover, whatever that stupid phrase is. Sometimes it is expected, though. If you're in that industry and you wear a uniform, like you were saying, Pappy, then yeah. If you're wearing that uniform with pride, if this is the way you dress, sometimes that's just the way it is. You don't see me walking around in a pair of high heels and a skirt saying I'm a lady now, do you? Some people do. But that is who they represent. We live in a world full of materialistic and superficial people. You can't argue with it. You and I may not be that superficial and materialistic, but hey, the fucking rest, I swore, my apologies. The rest of the world is. I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about, a little more about me, as if I don't talk about myself enough. So I can relate to that a lot because I love metal. I love it. I think it's the best music in the world. I do. I cannot understand why people listen to some other music. I've taken the time to try to listen to every different genre out there, and things like that. Take songs here and there. Just go on YouTube. Just type things into your search engine, your favorite search browser. Doesn't have to be Google. And say to yourself, okay, type in the genre. Say this is what I want to listen to, and it'll come up with heaps of different types of music. You can do it everywhere. So I've given a lot of music a chance because I believe, how can you judge other music when you don't really know even what that genre is like, subgenre or whatever. I love metal, end of story. Any rock sort of based music, anything heavier in there, I just like that. I mean, I don't mind classical music and things like that. Depends on what key it's written in and things, and how it goes, how it flows. But I like metal. Here in Australia, without sounding too stereotypical or not trying to be racist or anything, but races tend to stick together, being a multicultural society, and you tend to get labelled by your appearance, by your race, and what type of music you listen to. For example, people of my ethnic descent would be known to listen to rap R&B. End of story. That's the way it is. I don't even particularly dress like those people because most of the time I wear band shirts or things like that. But even people really, they still don't even see that, especially if you're not a musician. So, you know, I don't have the stereotypical, I don't have long hair. Not anymore, did once. Um, yeah, I don't dress around in, you know, all black. Sometimes I wish I did. Tight jeans, you know, leather and buckles. It's a bit camp for me. But, you know, big chains hanging off my wallet and things like that. That's the way I used to dress when I was a kid. But, you know, I don't have the stereotypical look of a metalhead. And when people talk to me, they just will assume that I listen to R&B, rap. Jeez, I don't even know what any groups are these days. And they'll always be like, well, you know, they're just shocked when I tell them what I listen to. They don't believe it. If someone asks me, what do I do? I said, oh, you know, I play guitar, I like music. They don't even believe me. I had one dude, he was a little bit older, but he goes, oh, this is my old job. I was talking to this guy. He's like, oh, so what do you do in your spare time? I said, oh, you know, I play a bit of music. And he goes, oh, what do you listen to? I said, oh, metal. He goes, what type of guitar do you play? I said, oh, heavy metal. So I play mainly rhythm songs, a bit of lead, you know, I do vocals. And the look on his face was like, it was in between pure disgust and being shocked. He's like, seriously, you? It's like, yeah, dude. You know. But unfortunately, people are labeled is my point. I fight it every day. You know what? Same thing with this stupid $100 shirt I'm wearing right now. Because, you know what? People want me to dress a certain way. They go, why do you always wear black? Why do you always wear those shirts? Like, why don't you go yourself? So, you know what? I bought a couple of, I don't know, douchebag shirts, just so, you know, when I go out with people, they can just shut the hell up and so forth. I mean, I like these clothes, but they're not my preference. Neither are these glasses. So, glasses are great, by the way. Check it out. So yeah, I know I can relate to that issue. I don't believe people should really fully dress exactly the genre of type of music that they want to play, but let's face it, in this day and age, you wear a uniform if you're a musician. So, I don't know, I'm torn between it. I mean, I believe, you know, you should always have, you know, make your own decisions, choices, you know, freedom of speech, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, if I was in a metal band, for sure, I'd grow out my hair and metal all the way. Hell, I'd like to do that now anyway. So, yeah, interesting subject there, and you could argue for or against. I could go on forever, but I won't. Okay, we'll talk about my build for a short while here, because I already explained everything on there. Here is the pedal. This is my design. It's nothing special. That's Spanish for the Devil's Whisper, or in Spanish, the Whisper of the Devil. Because this is a really high gain pedal. It works differently. If anyone out there knows about electronics and how distortion pedals work, the way this one works is a little bit different. They've based this off the actual preamp circuit and modified that to work as a pedal. So instead of having tubes, you have FETs. They're actually JFETs. That stands for field effect transistor or junction field effect transistor. Anyway, without getting into the technicalities of that, what it does is it replaces these little transistors like tubes would be. So it will have one gain stage into the next, like the preamp does, and that's how it produces distortion. There are no clipping diodes in here, well, you know, set up to clipping to ground and that sort of thing in this pedal. Not at all. Which is that's the way the DS1 works and those type of more pedals. Most modern pedals will, high gain pedals will have ICs, so integrated circuits, which are basically just little tiny amps, preamps, going into each other. A little bit like this. So you have cascading gain stages, and that's what this is like. Now, I like the sound of JFETs, let's not get too technical, when they're in pedals and circuits and boosts and things like that. I prefer it over regular transistors or MOSFETs and things like that. People are probably looking at this video with confusion now. But the way this works, I really like the tone of it. It's not not all that dynamic actually. It is, but it's more compressed. But if you do roll your volume down your guitar, it cleans up somewhat. This is a high gain pedal. But yeah, this is the kit here. You know, I put my own sort of stuff on the back there, just to is that the camera working? No, just to spice it up a bit, you know, make it my own. Yeah, cool pedal. Really enjoyed it. I said in my review I do recommend it for anyone who uses soldering iron. Thinking about it again, a couple of comments from people. Yeah, it's not an easy pedal to make if you don't have the right tools, and the circuit board has a lot of parts to it. It's pretty big. It's, you know, half the size of the, you know, a bit bigger than the enclosure, half the size or 3/4 size of the enclosure. So it's a pretty big board with quite a few components on there. J-fetch, you've got to be careful with the soldering iron, don't want to burn them out, so that's why you use sockets. But if you had a little bit of experience and patience, you can make this thing. It's really worth making. And I'm just going to unlock my phone so that doesn't beep again. It is really worth going out. The main reason I got this is because you can't get it anywhere else. People don't really make this pedal. It's actually based off the, if you've heard of it, the boutique pedals out there, or circuits, Brown Sound in a Box, you know, Van Halen tone, or I should really say Eddie tone. So it's based off that with another gain stage. You can't really buy them unless they're boutique. And there's no way in hell I'm going to pay that type of money for boutiques pedals, especially seeing I know how much all this costs. In Australia, boutique builders rip you off. End of story. And true bypasses are crop. So, anyway, just my opinion on the subject. But, yeah, so if you do have a little know-how and you've built a few things, or you've rewired a guitar, I should say, go out and check these pedals out. You can get them pre-made, but they're twice the price. This was 80 bucks or 70 bucks, something like that. But anyways, let's get to my final subject of the matter, because I'm going way over time, which I said I wouldn't do. Well, you got to put up with me because I'm talking too much. The Guitar Note magazine. Well, and when is that issue going to be available? That's all I'm going to say. I'm quite excited to see that. However, it's the 10th of March and the website doesn't look like it's been updated. I tried to leave a comment on the page. It just took me to more information and I couldn't leave a comment. And yes, somebody tell me, when is this coming out? Let's get to the outro. Scotty's song, that was cool. I like it. I like the tone you were getting, nice instrumental there. I really enjoy it. I always look forward to the outro tracks because you never know what you're gonna get. So yeah, life is like a smorgasbord of pedals at the music store. Because once you click on it, you never know what you're gonna get. Same with the outro track. So thanks for that, Scotty. Well, anyway, guys, I better stop talking. So I'm gonna get out of here, but can't wait for the next episode for just the pipes and the PT. I'm sure it's going to be rocking just like this one was. Pappy, all the best for whatever else you're going to do with your time, which will probably be more 5th fret stuff and everything else. But I would like to hear you on an episode sometime in the future. And yeah, that's about it, guys. Bliss on.